Okay, so those of you who have this small little note booklet for Buddha nature and preliminaries. So I will just go through the notes. So I won't really regard this as a kind of book, so-called, It didn't really edit. More like notes. So there may be some English error and grammar here and there, but not worry about that. So it's like you can regard as my simple note. So I'll try to go through it so that I won't get distracted. So it is on page, I think, 32. Or 26, page 27, 28, I think, page 28, sorry. No, page 27.
Does everyone have a book? Does anyone have a book? 1, 2, 3, okay.
So I'm kind of thinking that in future sessions, I said this morning, we'll go through some of the major preliminary practices. So the refuge and bodhicitta is one of the preliminary practice, one of the very important preliminary practice. So there are thank you. 10 category of preliminary practices, 7 category of preliminary practices, 4 major preliminary practices, and those preliminaries are, in order to enhance your practices. In developing compassion, developing wisdom, or to be able to qualify to practice even like tantra. So the preliminary practices are preliminary to practice main body practices of the Buddha Dharma. So from the sutra point of view, main body practices are the true altruism, bodhicitta and emptiness. And from the tantric Vajrayana point of view, is the main body practice is the daily yoga, in particular the high Sukhi Tantra. Of course 4 schools of Tantra, but then mainly high Sukhi Tantra. So without the preliminary, both the body practice of sutra and tantra won't be possible. So in order to make individual practitioner very, very fully matured in practice, as well as also, certain amount of, accumulation of merit and certain amount of purification of karma, in order the body practices of the both sutra and tantra able to digest within your spiritual journey. So the preliminary practices will help us to purify immense of karma and help us to accumulate immense of merit. So that very profound subject like emptiness, the moment you because the word just emptiness, there's not much words. It's very little word there, and even the definition is not kind of like hundreds and hundreds of pages of definitions that describe our emptiness. When we really conclude into what really means emptiness, is just like the wisdom that which realize lack of inherent existence. That's it. Or wisdom that realize, the interdependent nature of self and phenomena. That's it. Or just realizing the true nature of self and true nature of the aggregates and the rest of the phenomena. So when we talk about the greatest wisdom, that which is one of the most important Dharma realization that we need to actualize, which is without liberation, enlightenment will be possible. And so the wording is so little, so simple. But then, but to realize that it requires, it will make possible to regain the realization what that word means, what that absolute, reality of self and others, and self and things and events, is by the force of merit and by the force of purification. And the preliminary practices, help us to do that. So, like even Tantra, is Tantra, secret mantra, is basically purifying ordinariness and actualizing the causal and resultant divinity within one's existence in relation to self and in relation to the rest of the phenomena. So that is the Tantra, and that is the whole secret about. The secret is discovering the state of divine, the state of absolute state of the absolute purity state of self and others, and self and things and events, absolute purity state, which is also is fundamental nature of entire existence. and to actualize that initially in the causal stage, then eventually that causal training will evolve into a resultant stage, means in actual result yourself evolving into the absolute deity. When you live, you become absolute mandala of the deity. Entire your perception is absolutely become the divine perceptions. Due to that, it actualizes entire existence into divine state. And all these things, it's so easy. It is like the wording is so little, simple, but to get there is hard. And what will make us get there is again, through the purification of the karma and accumulation of merit. By scrubbing, layer by layer, the thickness of the negative emotions in us, the karmic imprint, the karmic habituation in us, and replace that, replace, that, whatever that you scrub, then you replace with wisdom and method, which is the increasement of the wisdom and increasement of the altruism. So that way, then Tantra become possible, to see the secret mantra become possible, and of course it's possible of all the what you call the method and wisdom, will actualize like that. So those serious practitioners, they really find dedicated time to engage in these practices. We call it preliminary retreats. So in order to gain substantial benefit to your heart, so the minimum is the numbers to accumulate the familiarity or accumulate the the planning, in planning, the imprint of those practices. So when we want to define by the number, then the great realized beings, realized masters in the past, who have achieved the result depending on these practices, then it's a minimum 100,000, minimum, like 100,000 refuge practices, 100,000 bodhicitta practices, 100,000 prostration practices, 100,000 mandala offering practices, 100,000 Vajrasattva practices, 100,000 water bowl offering practices, 100,000 Guru Yoga practices, 100,000 the Vajradaka fire puja practices, then so something like that, somewhere around 10. So
Yes.
around 10. Okay, thank you. So but the minimum, the four major preliminary practices, which is one of them is refuge, then Guru Yoga practices, and Vajrasattva practices, mandala offering practices, and prostration, or refuge, mandala offering, prostration, mandala, then what? Refuge, Vajrasattva, prostration,
Guru Yoga.
then water bowl. So always getting more than 4. so minimum, then different tradition like Nyingma Kagyu Sadhya based on Tibetan Buddhist tradition. So different tradition, take different preliminary as a measure preliminaries. There are some differ, but then again, usually the most practitioner try to accomplish all the 10 varieties of the preliminary practices. So So like a refuge practice, basically verbally the one need to accumulate the refuge prayer minimum 100,000 times, with the meditation of minimum that what we have discussed this morning, to having genuine understand, the meditation of the suffering of Lord Elam, meditation of suffering of samsara, then meditation on the seeing the absolute abilities of the object of refuge, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, meditation on the precept of refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, in particular the precept of Dharma. So while your heart meditating on these topics, then verbally you recite, you accumulate the number. And in many cases, they use this 4-line refuge and bodhicitta prayer. Recite the refuge and bodhicitta prayer, which got 4 lines. In fact, the refuge prayer is only first 2 lines. So, but then they don't separate. Even the second 2 lines also just take together. Or they use the other word, Sangye Gyatso, Chola Gyatso, Gendole Gyatso, or Lama Gyatso, Sangye Gyatso, Chola Gyatso, Gendole Gyatso. So there, Sangye Gyatso, I go for it, I venerate or I go refuge, to Buddha. Chola Gyatso, I go refuge or I venerate Dharma. Gendole Gyatso, I venerate or I go refuge in the Sangha. Then some practitioners they insert Lama Gyatso, first Lama Gyatso, I go refuge and venerate to the Lama. Why Lama first? those Lama is the nearest who transmit the refuge and the blessings of the Buddha Dharma Sangha, and who is the closest, the tie of your spiritual knot, being the Lama, so that it bring a special, it being very, very, it brings effectiveness of actualizing the benefit of practice through the channel of Lama. So that's why, they decide, I go for refuge in Lama. So either 4-line or either 5-line, or either just this usual 4-line prayer, refuge in Buddhist prayer, you just recite that. That also become a refuge prayer, refuge retreat, plenary of refuge retreat. So need to recite 100,000 times. So, and the way to conduct the retreat is, conducting 4 sessions. It's like minimum 4 sessions, like that. But then, so it's just to discipline yourself, and to have the entire period of retreat, that your mind to be occupied with the practice of refuge, and also to protect our one's body, speech, and mind from the other non-virtuous activities or non-dharma activities. Then you assign minimum 4 sessions, so like that. But then if those who really cannot afford to have 4 sessions, then you can just even do 1 session, even 1 session, or just 2 sessions. But then the number of sessions above 4 is limitless. You can do many short sessions, and the retreats is more beneficial to conduct shorter session, but it's very concentrated. Very concentrated session with the full focus, with the full presence of concentration, with the full presence of meditation, full presence of devotion or discipline, the clarity, everything. If you involve, then whatever amount of time that you dedicate for the retreat, it becomes very effective. Otherwise, even you do very long session, but with the dull mind, with the intruding, like tiredness or delusions and this and that, then the session won't become effective. So like that. So in order to conduct, because a refuge preliminary usually need to do seated on the sitting session. So one need to dedicate particular seat. Then if possible, which again has a great benefit, that you can really set the retreat cushion, like how the Guru Shakyamuni Buddha have done his 6 years of retreat. First place the first to bless the ground, or to bless your seat as a Vajra cushion, Vajra seat. And you can do that if you have a great samadhi, then you can do that with blessing through samadhi. But then if you don't have a strong samadhi, then at least to symbolize that Vajra cushion, then you draw a swastika. You draw a swastika, and then the first thing under the cushion that you place is the swastika. This swastika. Then on top, the swastika is to represent the Vajra cushion, because it helps. It helps, not to have obstacle during your retreat. The obstacle of like unable to continue, occurring of death, obstacle of giving up, minimum that kind of obstacle, and help to clear those obstacles. Then the another benefit is to, if in case, if luckily you attain enlightenment, then ordinary ground won't able to hold you, when you really purify entire existence of samsara and attain enlightenment, then, it will be tough to carry you. So you need a vajra ground. So that, so to speak, is symbolized as a vajra ground. And also, if really becoming Buddha, then on that very cushion, then you have the correct base of the ground where you can enlighten. And another reason is also, to really to have to establish the karma in your spiritual journey, that quickly able to attain the state of enlightenment on the vajra ground. So it naturally creates some kind of vibe within you and around you. And because of that vajra ground, even the retreat hut, it can be in your home, it can be in your altar room, or it can be in your bedroom, or it can be anywhere. It really, it brings the energy of the enlightened ground. It brings the energy of enlightened ground. It really receive benefit, and it affect your retreat to be very successful, very very effective for the spiritual realization. Whatever practice that you are doing. So then on top of that, then place kusha grass. And the kusha grass, best to place the two kusha grass. So kusha grass, it has a natural component from the grass itself, component to purify the impurities, impure energy, inner outer secret pollutions. It could be including, it is also purifying the mental pollutions. It helps us to have a very clear mind, during the retreat, during the practice. So, in ancient time in India, especially I think near Varanasi, they have a kusha grass field, and the Indians, especially the sadhus and the yogis, they have time to time, in order to purify the environmental negative energies, or even their mind, if being so negative. So then they just go and lie down on the kusha grass in the kusha grass field, and just be there, and there's a natural impact to your heart to be very pure and very the concentration start to develop. It helps to reduce the hallucinations and the delusional disturbances. So therefore, whether you do retreat, it is one of the requirement, because for the concentration, one of the tool to succeed your retreat is need a concentration, the mind of serviceable mind. Your mind need to listen to you what you wish to achieve from that retreat, which is the benefit of immense of purification, and the effect of that is your heart become very nurtured, into greater compassion, greater wisdom. Need to develop that even from the very beginning, even though it's just preliminary practice, but that effect has to happen. You see, so in order to do that, then you need a very very concentrated mind, which is a serviceable mind. So the kusha grass, even from the physical object, it has a great benefit for that. So when you place the kusha grass, so the swastika, either you can draw on the ground or you draw on the paper, then stick with maybe tape. If you have a very stable cushion, then no need to worry, just place there. Because once it's placed there, during the retreat period, you cannot move, to to station there till you finish the retreat. So good to staple, put the Scotch tape to put around so to be stable. Then on top of that, and the kusha grass, you can place the root, towards your front, then the head behind, place like that. Then you can place in the center of the swastika. Then that also, in order not to move, you can put Scotch tape. Just put that, tie that. Then on top of that, then need a long life grass we call tsaramba. I saw many, you can get everywhere. The long life grass, it has many knots within the grass, and the longer that is better. Again, this long life grass is one of the auspicious substance that even during Buddha's time they use into ceremonies, ritual ceremonies or ritual activities, and it has a great natural natural effect to impact you for long life and to clear the obstacle of health, to clear obstacle of the life danger, so that during the practice that it won't be interruption of sickness and death, etc. In particular death. So, so the kusha grass, if you find very long one, then you just fold it, then just make it smaller size, then place on top the kusha grass. Then again you put the Scotch tape. So you can also do. Sorry.
We used to make it in a ring. We did it to the kusha grass, just to make it in a ring and wind it round itself.
You can also do that. Yes. No, you can even draw, what you were saying, the inner ring. But then it's something that anybody can so easily can do. Then just swastika is basically like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. So very easy. Swastika to draw is very easy. Then on top of that, just the kusha grass, also very easy to find. Then the long life ramba grass, also very easy to find. So at least these three substance, you can even laminate. You just put the three things together. Last time what I did, I laminated it, so you can carry everywhere. Just small thing. So you won't just need to worry about scattering everywhere. So, but then you can do that with very nice, even like a mandala drawing like that. The rings, even the lotus. You can really exactly like a mandala. You can make the circle. Then you draw the lotus, then you can just, it also has a symbolism of, sitting on the lotus, the 8-petal lotus seat. Then in the middle you can also draw the sun disk and moon disk. So there are a lot of things you can do if you want to do more. But the basic is, just those three things. So then, if you have the opportunity to invite, some sanghas, lamas, or some other, senior practitioners that who have done such kind of retreat and who know how to do the blessing of the cushion, then you can invite them and there's the short ritual blessing of the cushion. And that has to be done when you are sitting on that cushion. And also there's a practice of dispelling some any hindrances, before entering into retreat, called the gate offering practice. So that's only if there's available, masters or practitioners who know how to do that. But then otherwise, no need to worry and no need to wait for that. You just use like this, like this one in middle. Then the left hand in the meditation posture around the navel. So you just touch the ground under your seat, or you can touch like this. Shakyamuni Buddha's hand gesture is like this, is like this. So it's just touch the ground, just touch your seat. Then that itself is, blessing the retreat cushion, or blessing the ground to be the Vajra ground. And then after that, then we start with, even it's a refuge retreat, but then we start with the refuge prayer. If it's any other retreat, you start with the refuge prayer. Then you just do according with what you need to do, And during the retreat, there are some samaya, securing the samayas. Because when you conduct a retreat with all this basic environment, then Bodhisattvas, Dakinis, Dhammapalas tends to always, come and bless us or assist the retreater, So, and they establish, they bless, your retreat heart. They bless everything, including the food that you eat, the water that you drink, or whatever things that you place as an offering on the altar. Everything is tend to get blessed. So then even the dust in the house, it was all blessed. So during that period, during the retreat, try not to sweep away and throw the dust, even the dust outside. So try to keep the rubbish in. So not so hygiene, I don't know. But then again, of course, they have to be practical, isn't it? It's not in Himalaya. So we have to be practical. If something is going to get rotten or get smelly, then of course, again, you use your own power of mind to just discard it, without any attachment like that. But then, but whatever you want to keep, then you keep not as you attach to it. You keep as a samaya substance, during the retreat as a samaya substance. When you want to discard, then you just discard without, at the practice of detachment, if it's necessary. So, So then at the end of the retreat, then, at the end of the retreat, then, we just, if the practitioner is very, very beginner, first time doing just like a refuge retreat, preliminary retreat, so you may not have even any of the daily yoga practices, then you simply feel, entire retreat time, you feel the presence of the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, Dakinis, gurus. Then at the end of the retreat, just before, right after you done the dedication, then you just felt each and every Buddha, Bodhisattvas and Dhammapalas and Dakinis, they bless you, they grant all their blessings, and they went to their own enlightened mandalas, to continue their own usual activities, and you receive the continuation of their blessing, in common days from tomorrow onward or that very onward. So then your own house, especially if you are staying with the rest of the family, and you just everything dissolve into the emptiness nature, including the Vajra ground, entire, the blessing, it dissolve into unification or emptiness and great bliss, and that emptiness and great bliss, it become inseparable from your heart. It become inseparable from your mind, and that inseparability of the blissful, the empty, the blessing, or even you can say that the Buddha, deity, Dakini's entire generation of the Bodhisattvas, the essence of the mind become inseparable from your mind. And from this very moment onward, as a post-retreat, all the activities are, going to become activities of the that blessing, activities of the Buddhas, activities of your divine heart, and during the post meditation, during the post retreat, the coming days, just try to have the mindfulness, try one's very best to remind, to keep that understanding, keep that mindfulness, so then that itself become a very powerful protection to your mind, not to engage or not to indulge in negativities, not to engage or indulge in delusions, so just that effect itself is a great achievement after your retreat, because you, in the period of 1 week or 10 days or 3-4 days or whatever amount you dedicated for your retreat, it becomes so intense, infusing the imprint in your heart. So then when you finish the retreat, you end the retreat with that thinking, that kind of idea, and become oneness of that blessing of your heart, even though in your causal state you are not enlightened yet, but then because of that blessing, because of the conducive condition of retreat, your heart really become oneness with that. And just keeping in your best, be mindful of, your mind is that. It itself will give a very meaningful, day after day life, very productive practice of day after day, and not only that, it will bring immense of protection, intruding negativities into your mind and performing negative action through your participation mind, and at the same time, one can able to live with so much blissfulness, because that the blessings of the retreat, the result of the retreat, the blessing of the retreat, the samaya blessing that was blessed by Buddha Bodhisattva Dakatakinis is a very fulfilling, blissful experience, and you already emerged that oneness with your mind, and just to have that recognition is already like bringing so much peace and so much happiness in your heart. So it's a very good guideline to be happy. To be happy, to be positive, to be Dharma day after day life. So this has to happen as an effect of doing retreat. It's not like, okay, today I finished retreat, I need to rush. Then that's the case that most of the time you don't see much difference after the retreat. After the retreat yourself, there's no much different from the before who you are, the retreat. my English becomes unbelievable, terrible. So, yeah. So we need to have, we need to gain some changes, after the retreat. We need to achieve some changes after the retreat, and that not just setting right motivation and doing all right during the retreat, but then conclusion didn't do properly, and we may not get the maximum benefit. So you see, so that's why the 3 times initial motivation, then during the retreat, the end part has to be all accordingly done. Yeah, so like that. Yeah. So so then when if you're using the mala to count the recitation, then end of each session, good to bless the mala. Good to bless the mala, good to bless your hand. Then yeah. And also if physically there's some sicknesses or some inconvenience, that maybe knee problem, whatever, then you can blow, because your speech becomes so powerful, so blessed. It heals. Why we go and receive, blessing. Chak Wang is the hand initiation. And the literal translation is hand initiation. It's Chak is hand, Wang is initiation. So the Tibetans and Himalayas, they like to do and let the Lama touch their hand on their head. The main reason because Lamas are regarded, they accumulate so much mantras, so much prayers, and that's why their hands or their blow, breath become like so blessed, so powerful to heal. So you see, if you go to the big gatherings when the lamas teaching gathering, like he's not that lama, like Lama Suruche, right? So people will go and, especially the people who have eye problem, they will go to lama like that. It's actually asking to blow to their eye to get healing, and it really has great effect. So great effect. Then touching the hand like that. So individual also can have that ability, because chanting mantra, you bless your mala, then you touch the mala on people's head. If people need blessing or need some kind of healings, you can help people with that. Or your hand always after recite mantra, you blow like this, Then, while rubbing, then you can just dedicate that as a tool to benefit others, to offer healing to others. Altruistically dedicate, So then even your hand becomes so beneficial, So then your breath, not just like the chant which is already blessed, but then you can have to dedicate it, and may my breath or may my body, or basically your existence be most beneficial to heal the other's sufferings or influence virtues to others. So like that. So when you recite any of the preliminary, mantras or accumulate the retreat, the numbers, then good to use left hand. The mala should hold on the, hold on the left hand and use the ring finger the way you count. Thumb and ring finger. Place on the ring finger. Then count like this. Place on ring finger, then count with the thumb like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So then, you should place around the heart chakra. When you recite the mantra, place around heart chakra like this. So like this. So again, the natural, the reciting of the what you call the most the reciting of the clear-eyed mind, recite around the center, here, between the two chairs, right here, because here they have the eight channels. In the center of the 8 channel, then where the 8 channel helps to hold the strength of the indestructible drop. So the indestructible drop, where your life force stay, where the subtle state of mind, usually is functioning at right center here. So then, the ring finger, there's a nerve system that which also link to the heart, the nerve at the heart. Then when you talk about the subtle nerve system, that link to the central channel, central channel. So activating with a positive intention, which is positive energy, activating your ring finger. It helps to activate the gross nerve system. The gross nerve system help to make activation of the wind flow, blood flow, then wind flow, and then that wind flow will help to activate the subtle channels and subtle winds, and that help to activate the subtle mind, subtle mind, and that's how that it helps to leave a very intense imprint in our subtle mental consciousness, and that imprint can be so beneficial, so stable, so powerful, at the time of when entire our gross mind is seized. Like when we face a death, then the subtle mind start to manifest, and the subtle mind become exactly like our gross mind, who take care of the journey, so who take care of our death with altruistic way, with a dharma way, positive way, take care of the inner state with a positive altruistic dharma way, and that makes possible of our rebirth, either enlightenment or either liberate, just self-liberation, or at least high rebirth, like that. You see, so even that has a great reason, not just it's a tradition, very comfortable to do, but there's even scientific reasons. There's even a scientific reason there. You see, so then from very beginning, whenever you recite mantra, whenever you recite like this, like even a refuge as a retreat, during the retreat or during day-to-day practice, you are just taking in all the positive energy, the positive vibe, the blessing, Then if you can, like if you are doing the retreat of refuge, then you see entire wisdom of Dharma is just following in. The more each time you take one bit inward, one new wisdom, one new wisdom you gain, one new Dharma wisdom you gain. You see, then you see, so like that. You see, so if it's like you're doing the mantra recitation of, let's say, like a Tara, then each time you gain the blessing of the Tara's blessing of the activities, Tara's blessing or whatever blessing that you wish to gain, then it just bring it, actualize it, and really receive it in the form of whatever form that you want to visualize. Like Tara maybe can be this upala flower, in the form of upala flower, or in the form of her radiance light, or in the form of her image, like just like a snowflakes, just coming in, and dissolving into you, and then each time you do that, you feel that you are completely blessed, completely filled with the blessings, So that's how how you nurture yourself with the blessings. You see, like Manjushri, maybe not necessarily Manjushri's image, but in the form of the wisdom sword, image of wisdom sword arising into you. Then, like if you meditate on, if you're reciting Genesis mantra or Mani Padme Hum, image, so the energy of compassion in the form of white lotus, or in the form of crystal mala, or in the form of white radiant light, just like and directly entering into your central, your subtle state of mind, without any transition through gross mind, and directly enter, and since directly, then that end of each fulfillment in your heart. Okay, yes, I receive it. Then, that's the visualization that you can do. This eight, what you call the eight nerve system that which surround the undistributed of the central nerve system, in the form of lotus petal. That it just the lotus petal just go like this, like kind of like you get the essence, then you close up. Yeah. So then, in order not to depart those blessings, then through your visualization, you place the chorus vajra on top of it, like chorus vajra. The chorus vajra is not some kind of like a solid metal vajra, but in the form of light, but it's undestructible, never departing. So then, with that, then you like then you can conclude this visualization with then another section of dedication, or just conclude with that. If you do retreat, if you do practice, daily practice like that, then you will see how much effect that you're receiving. So this is the way to conduct daily sadhanas, daily recitations of mantra, or even you just dedicate 5 minutes to do. If you do it this manner, it will help to improve your concentration, it will help to improve your wisdom, mindfulness, and at the same time, your heart is totally free from disturbing thoughts. And that duration, how much duration you dedicate, it becomes absolutely peaceful state, very happy state. And that we will definitely appreciate that, you see. So like that. After 1 o'clock, isn't it? The session is after 1 o'clock?
1:30.
12:30. Okay, we don't have much time. Okay, then, so before going further, do you have any questions?
So Geshe,
On the mic. Yeah, then all these sessions, the physical body posture, it differs to individuals. Compatibility. It's not something that must do that with the 7-minute meditation duration posture. As long as you are inspired to do meditation, you can do anywhere, anytime. In order to do meditation, not something that you need to wash, you need to brush your teeth, and then only I can do meditation. Not like that. If you can, wonderful. But then, no, I shouldn't say if you can, wonderful. If you want to do even after that, after brushing teeth, after sitting properly, you want to continue meditation, wonderful. But then, that shouldn't be the kind of the condition to do meditation. So as long as your heart is ready to do meditation, then you can do anywhere, anytime. You can and that's what we want. We should do more meditation. We really need to habituate our heart as much as possible. And let's say if you really want to come, if you really want to use mala, even with the lying in the bed, you can still do that. In your bed. Why not? But this, using the ring finger and with the visualization and placing it on the heart, it has its own characteristic. It has its own benefit. To anybody, is a great reason for that, great benefit that, But then the sitting wise, Of course, certain meditation version of posture is really, really beneficial for majority, but then not to everybody. So if you feel more beneficial doing meditation on sitting like Tara, then you can do meditation like that. If you feel more comfortable, your mind become more dedicated, more concentrated. If you do like Maitreya way of sitting, you can do like that. Or if you feel more comfortable lying down on the bed, you can do like that, or on the sofa. As long as your mind is meditating, as long as your mind is habituating, so.
So Geshe, I just wanted to ask with the ring finger, is it important to be closer to the tip of the ring finger?
No, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, yeah.
Yes, is there any problem using the right hand with the mala if you have problems with your left hand?
Yes, no problem. No.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, what do you call it? Yeah, even is sometimes maybe using mala is also inconvenient if you really want to get into some other type of meditations. So this is mainly when you need to count and recite like mantras or prayers. If you need to count them, this is one of the good option. But otherwise, not even need to use mala, not necessary. Actually, the counting is the least important in the meditation. Yeah. Here.
Hi Geshe, I'm just interested specifically in the sort of 100,000 preliminary practice.
Mm-hmm.
Is it essential to do that as a kind of formal retreat where you kind of set your cushion and all that, or is it okay to just do it like as much as you can whenever you can, sort of thing?
Yeah. So you can also do as much as you can. Without maybe interrupting your daily responsibilities. So anybody can do that. Just now what I said is like those who want to dedicate specific time for retreat. But there's one thing in order to, fulfill the so-called as a preliminary or daily yoga retreats. So there are certain things that need to keep in mind. So if you are accumulating 100,000, it can be like prostration or mantra recitation, then whatever amount or whatever number of sessions that you conducted on the first session, and that has to be the minimum that have to conduct every day.
Number of sessions?
Number of sessions
recitations?
and number of recitation both. Number of sessions, number of recitation both. And so that's the minimum. Because there are some people that who always need to fly, who always need to travel. So, sitting on one cushion also can be obstacle. So in that case, then each time when you conduct the session, you can be in the flight, but you at least visualize. Use your samadhi, use your concentration to feel the existence of Vajra cushion. Then. You reinforce your concentration, which is like a pusha grass. Then at the same time, appreciate that life that you have, and wish to have longer life to conduct such kind of practices. Then with the altruistic intention, then you just conduct whatever amount of maybe just one mala of the mantra. You just recite, then conclude. Then next day you do in a hotel room, then that day you come back home and you continue like that. So similar to prostration, similar to any kind of preliminary retreat, but then certain daily yoga retreat, I think it would be inconvenient to do that. You really may need to dedicate one permanent cushion and permanent retreat place, because there are certain restrictions, and there are certain things that which retreat implements that need to engage. There are so many different needs. So you won't able to manage, while you're traveling like that. But preliminary retreats, I think you can. Yeah. Okay. Yes, please.
Thank you, Geshe. Geshe, can you please explain a bit more when you're talking about thinking about the blessings, more the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Dharmas and Dakinis, what we should be thinking about or how that should feel?
Yeah, we feel the blessings of basically becoming our heart becoming like similar to them, because the Buddha Bodhisattva, their heart is overwhelmed with compassion, overwhelmed with altruism, and so to feel the presence of their blessing, or feel the presence of receiving their blessing, your inspirations, like the feel of increasement in your inspiration, and that is the blessing. That's the compassion. But then when you visualize the blessing is really kind of like a physical form, like really working and entering into you, that is more like in the form of light, in the form of visualize light, visualize in the form of like a rainbow. You see something, but then there's no physical thing to hold on to it, and that just when it reaches your heart or it reaches within your body, it just becomes inseparable. So most of the blessings we derive from the Buddha Bodhisattvas in any form of meditation is light or nectar, flow of lights or nectar, and the lights can be different type of lights. Not necessarily has to be one specific light. So whatever the light that which you feel most comfortable, or whatever light comes when you do that visualization, and then whenever that light touches through your concentration, maybe to the body, you feel like light enter from here. You just feel like sensation. You just need to express the sensation that is like a blissful sensation. If it's touching here like that, it's like your heart just naturally like become very peaceful, very blissful. So with so much inspiration and so much conviction that exists in the blessing, when through your concentration, it really like step by step bring nearer to you. The moment it touches, it's really like something touch here. Really you feel unexpressible bliss, and so that's the blessing. So you can do that. Okay, so maybe we have to stop. Okay. One.
Yes, an hour. So
Yeah.
Come back about 1:30.
Okay, so maybe one, then after that, yeah, sorry. Since he raised and all behind there.
Thank you, Geshe. Your number of 100,000 sounds a good number, but if a simple calculation, if you do once a day, it will take 300 years. So for people like 70 or 80s who are just starting, who has only limited time, probably not achievable. So what's your advice to these people?
So I think the numbers are very much in the form of advice by the masters. And especially I think numbers are given to those bit lazy practitioners. Say as a minimum you do 100,000, like the counting, but actually there's no number. You just do your best as much as you can. But in the traditional way, this advice lineage came from many past masters. To master is minimum like 100,000 times, and those advices very much those who are capable to do, have time to do, but then yet not doing it. So otherwise, just doing, even just capable to do one also already very good. If you really don't have time, like that. Okay. Thank you. See you.